Hey guys, I'm CJ123 here with another Frostpunk tutorial. This time I'm going to be talking about laws in Frostpunk. So what are laws? Well, obviously, as you can just imagine, they are how you run your city and how you determine who works, whether you can do 24 hours. And here I'm just doing a propaganda centre, which is a bit more of a closer to a fascist kind of purpose law. So obviously you get two different kinds. You get adaptation and purpose. Now in Winterhome, for example, you start with adaptation, and after a certain point you get introduced to purpose to deal with your low hope. So in adaptation, you can do things like authorize 24 hours for your work shifts, extended shifts, so rather than working 10 hours, they work 14 hours. You can decide whether your children work or they get put in shelters and help your workshops, things like that, really. Even how you dispose of your dead citizens, really. Whether you throw them into a pit or whether you build them a cemetery. Things like radical treatment where you amputate gravely ill, or whether you just keep them in care homes until you can find a way to heal them, as medical posts by default can't heal gravely ill. Even things like feeding them, whether you want to give them soup or if you want to feed them sawdust. Obviously those two laws, you don't really need them unless you want to make more food. And then you have other things like your discontent laws, which are kind of like fighting arenas, dueling, things like that. So just showing you here. So obviously you've got like a secretary and you've got to follow it. So you do emergency shifts first and then extended shifts. Then so here I've done child shelters, and then I get engineer apprentices or medical apprentices, completely up to what you want to do. So they all have that. So moonshine, things like that, purpose laws here. So obviously you can decide whether you want order and discipline or faith, which I've gone for order here. So it's more production orientated rather than hope and discontent. Like, it does improve it, but I would say faith is better for doing that, for controlling hope and discontent. Possibly not so much discontent, really, that's more of order, but definitely with hope, faith is the way to go. But as you go further down the purpose laws, it does get a little bit more, I don't know, you just seem to question it a bit more, and even your citizens even tell you things that are these really things that we need, or like that, like propaganda centers, prisons. Like, you could say you kind of need them, but you can get abilities like rounding people up and things like that, and it can just get to where these laws are good, but it kind of just gives you more control over the city then, until basically you can become a tyrant, and then hope never becomes a problem again. So if you never want to bother with hope, hey, you can just sign one of the final laws in the purpose tree, and there's one for each one. They're different, but they pretty much do the same thing anyway, which basically just gives you full control of the city one way or another. And also a great way of controlling discontent, but at a cost. I'm not going to mention that because it's a bit spoilers, really. I'm just going to, a lot of this is just find it out for yourself. Just things like that. They are very important. Now, you can do one every 1 day to 1 day, 18 hours or so. It kind of depends which one you go for. It's a little bit weird like that, where it doesn't just go like 1 day and a half and it's fixed at that for all laws. Some laws take a little bit different times afterwards until you can do a new one. I'm not sure why, but that's just how it is. But it's between a day and 2 days, to be absolutely certain. So yeah, things like that. And like, as I said, a lot of laws are kind of, some are like no-brainers, some are just not worth it, but unless you're doing like the, one achievement is basically where you've got to not pass any severe laws. You've got to kind of avoid the ones that are really beneficial for you. Like child labour, overcrowded, things like that. So it's a prison here, so that's why I'm going to sort this concern out. Even though I don't think I've got any here, nope. Things like that, so you've got to kind of balance it out on the laws. Like you could do all the laws, like give you massive production and like massive workforce and time, but they come at a big cost, and on the higher difficulty they can really catch you out and just end you like that, because people would be so discontent and lost all hope because you put in the worst laws. So you've got to balance it like that. Short-term, long-term goals, and just forward planning. It's a lot of that in this game, and that's what you've got to do with the laws. And just think about where you want to go. So obviously you get a few abilities that improve your hope and discontent, things like that. So pretty much that's like all the laws all together. So just make sure whenever your laws can be done again, do it. Unless you've nearly maxed out everything, you don't need it, then that's fine. But food laws, 24 hours, extended shift, and deciding on what you want to do with child labour, and things like that. And I would always suggest radical treatment with the overcrowding. My personal opinion, so you don't have to build infirmaries, but you do have to do the prosthetics later on if you want to get your workforce back. If not, you just show them in a care house, that's fine. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.